But like, if you're not ready to wear the crown, it gets heavy sometimes on your head and on your shoulders.
If you lose an opportunity, you went all in financially, you got a family or a girlfriend, a wife, whatever the case may be, or husband, and you lost that opportunity, the last place most people are going to go is the gym.
If you're going to be in entrepreneurship, you're going to put a lot on your head, on your shoulders. You got to be ready for failure. Like, at the end of the day, there just shouldn't be one frame of mind. The frame of mind is, it's one failure now, but if you have a bunch of people that are weighing on you, that one failure turns into 50, 100, and you're going to eat that. If you think it's bad right now, wait a week when everybody's like, I believe you.
Well, if you had to draw one last gem that people need to pay attention to or tap into, what would that one thing be?
Well, you need to, before you diversify your money into too many things, put all your money into one skill set until it's making enough money that you don't feel like it's going to spread you too thin to invest into something else. And the second thing is, wealth is measured more in time than it is in dollar value.
For sure.
So one thing that I want you guys to take the time to do is figure out how you can start to get some of that time back.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another exclusive interview on the Pursuit Podcast. We're in Brickell. This is the first time I've actually did an interview in Brickell, and I'm having an amazing entrepreneur. Matter of fact, this interview was so important that he drove down here all the way from Sarasota. All the way from Sarasota, which is, it's like, what, 4.5 hours?
Yeah, it's about 4.5 hours.
About four and a half hours to come to Brickell, which is not a bad place to be at all.
No, it's beautiful out here.
Right?
Beautiful weather out today, too.
And we're going to sit down, we're going to have a nice conversation. We're going to learn more about you, what you have going on, and all the amazing things that you're doing right now in real time in the e-com space.
I appreciate you.
Right?
Yeah, let's definitely.
So, Ron Earley, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. One more.
Amazing. So, first off, let's give some context. I want to apologize for missing our original meeting because we were supposed to meet up on your side.
It's all good.
But I guess how God has it, this is where the interview was supposed to take place.
Right.
You know, he wanted us in Miami.
Right.
So I go to this church called Woo, and Pastor Rich always talks about there's like a revival in spirituality that's happening in Miami right now. So, which is really interesting because I feel like Miami has a lot of like chaos.
Yes.
You know, it can be organized chaos, or you can find something lost in it. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I'm moving from.
So I'm only bringing that point to be like, we're having an interview here. You know what I'm saying? So, what I want to ask you is, there's been a lot of things. Let's just open up with this. There's been a lot of things going on in e-com, right?
Yeah.
And I was just literally talking to a friend of mine because I personally feel like e-com is an amazing space because I feel like it's just limitless. There's just so much opportunity in it. And before we dive into the opportunity, let's talk about all of the dark side of it, or all the misleading things that's going on, or maybe one would even say like scam.
Yeah.
You know, so what's currently happening in the e-com space, and how are they clearing it up?
Well, I'd say for the past, we'll call it a decade.
Yeah.
People catch on to things early, but people like to run things dry. And there was an early model where people could drop ship and they'd hire VAs and they could source this price from different sites. You know, people, they weren't as aware of drop shipping back in like the 2015, 2016, 2017 hype. We're in a different age now. All right, we got computers talking for us. They're doing things that, you know, at that time weren't really relevant or prevalent. And as those things ran out, not to say like drop shipping or third-party companies or VAs can't necessarily work for you, Amazon is also evolving. $1 to $2 trillion in America, $1 to $2 trillion companies in America. They have to adapt and continue to keep evolving, if they want to continue to keep growing their company.
Yeah.
That means getting rid of the bad quality control.
Okay.
Which, if you're selling a service, you're sourcing products, sometimes you might not even necessarily be doing anything wrong, but it's giving people a bad name that are sourcing or monetizing a service that now Amazon's putting their finger on that you can no longer do. Because if I'm sourcing a product from, we'll say, Walmart, right? Yeah. And you're the one that's maintaining it, managing it, and even though you bought a legitimate product, they look at you and they say, you didn't touch that product. You can't verify that product.
Gotcha.
You don't have a license to sell that product. So you're over with. And I feel like we went through this period where everybody's accounts were getting suspended, things were getting frozen. It looked like fraud. Now here's the other side. A lot of people thought they could hire VAs for people that thought that they could manage or do this dropshipping thing, and they just get by like the skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
They said they did it. I took my time. If your store went down, so be it. They took the upfront fee. That's where they made their money. But like you just said, in the e-commerce space, there's so much potential.
Yeah.
$1 trillion company.
For
If you look at the statistics, Amazon made $476 billion in 2024. 61% of that money came from third-party sellers.
this is okay. So 61% of those $1 billion that they generated came from third party. So not even Amazon. It's
Right.
just like you selling or I'm selling on the site.
On Amazon.
Yeah. So that's
Right.
like a tremendous like affiliate opportunity.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So like when you see people advertising like these management companies, they go, yeah, I can make you money as fast as possible. You gotta be choosy with your terminology in this because, you know, we gotta follow FTC and SEC guidelines in this space.
Your podcast still not monetized? Apple has over 2 million podcasts on their platform, but only 450,000 of them are active. The truth is 90% of podcasts quit before episode 10, and of the remaining podcasts, only half of them really know how to get money. And they rely on brand deals, sponsorships, and a large audience. So if you're really ready to scale your podcast to 100K, click the link below, book a call, and let's see if you're a good fit for the program.
It's not that it's not necessarily hands off because you got a team running it for you,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's still your company. You got to set up the business entity, you got to set up the bank account, you got to attach your cards. It's yours, it's your asset. I'm going to grow it. No different than property management, right? And your property management, the reason why they hire it's because it's passive. You don't have to deal with the tenant. Same thing with me running and managing your Amazon store. The only difference in what my team does is we fly around the globe. I'm acquiring brands at different expos and signing license agreements, and we're signing
Oh, so
contracts.
you're really doing it?
Oh, I'm doing it.
Yeah. So you're not just like, and there's nothing wrong with this, but you're not like in your home or in an office space managing. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But you're actually touching product, you're touching people, you're going to events, you're going to expos, you're going to conferences, you're seeing what's new out there, and you actually connecting with individuals.
Right. I mean, contrary to popular belief, this model started with what people would call a laptop lifestyle.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, the real money is in network. You can't network from your laptop in your basement.
No, not at all. Not at all. So right now, is it still an opportunity for somebody to get in and achieve wealth, or did they miss the boat? Like, what's going on right now in the space?
It's getting really close. For what people were able to do in the past, you could access Amazon accounts through what was called third-party permissions. We just add an email, and they can do like a backdoor login to accounts. So then people could necessarily manage or add products.
Yeah.
That is going away. As of a month ago, Amazon said you apply for our SPN. If you get approved and you can show that you have the warehouse and show that you have the employees and the software and services, we'll accept you. But we're going to vet you.
So they want to make sure the partners that they're working with are like legitimate, like almost similarly set up to how they are. They want to make sure you got warehouse employees, merchandise, a system, right? So you can actually, I guess kind of to your point earlier, it keeps the level of quality control high.
Right.
And they want to make sure that obviously 'cause people that are purchasing on Amazon, they're going to receive a product. It's going to be a high level product. It's going to be what they purchase.
That is
In a sense.
100% correct.
Yeah.
What better way to monetize that than knowing that Amazon directly has their finger on it? And it's at the end of the day, like you can make a lot of money doing what we do, but it's a catch-22. I also have to play by Amazon's rules.
Yep.
If they're going to give me the platform to be able to make millions and millions of dollars, I should have to play by the rules.
Now that's a fact. So what's realistic in the space, man? How much money is your company seeing? And first of all, how many years has your company been in the space?
I've been in the Amazon space for nearly a decade.
Okay, so 10 years. So let's go over the last 3-4 years. What has your company been averaging gross? Like give the people some numbers.
Amazon stocks, last year we went through our first transition. So this Amazon transition that happened last year, the government got involved and they didn't want Amazon monopolizing a space, or at least they had to take responsibility for the products being sold on Amazon, which is what started this thing last month. It's called the Inform Act. So they forced everybody to sign this piece of paper. Mind you, $360 billion. I think part of Amazon's play was making sure that people went through the sign-up process and going through the vetting service.
Yeah.
But it also put 60% of wholesalers that were on Amazon out of business last year.
That's crazy. It's like they got slacked.
That's exactly what happened. It's exactly
It's
what
like, nah, we about to clear all y'all out.
Right. So as it stands right now, and we're coming up to the end of April here, getting ready to start May, we are the only account management company that is currently approved on Amazon Service Provider Network.
And now,
Only one.
okay, so since you're the only one right now, what are the numbers? Like, what are y'all doing?
Last year we did a little under 14 million, just about 14 million.
So $14 million, what does that operation look like?
Crazy. Because when people hear 14 million, you're like, yo, you made 8 figures. But there's a cusp.
No, of course. Yeah.
When you move from 7 to 8 figures, it takes infrastructure and a lot of it. And if you want quality inside your company, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
So 14 million.
Salaries and systems and different, I guess, networks on the back end.
Even general counsel. You got to make sure.
Yeah,
like,
that's it. Yeah.
at the end of the day, business is business. Things are going to happen. You got to keep yourself protected. I think the people that you have involved with you that sometimes don't like you because God's hand, the government gets involved, you know, flooding happens with the 2 hurricanes that came through. This is operations. People are living off that money sometimes. And even though, you know, we preach, you probably shouldn't live off this income, some people do. And it puts us all in a sticky situation. But like, if you're not ready to wear the crown, you know, it gets heavy sometimes on your head and on your shoulders. So you got to pay for that infrastructure so you can help do damage control as soon as those things come to light, but also so you can like see ahead of time and you can try to navigate around those things. God forbid they do happen.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's damage control. You got to pay for that.
So let's talk about your mindset, man, because the mindset of an 8-figure entrepreneur that's running what sounds to be like a big operation in a space that, you know, is basically clearing out a lot of different companies. So for your company to stay in there, obviously there's checks and balances you got to follow. That means you have to be up on the latest terms and conditions. Right. You got to be, you know, in compliant as Amazon is evolving, right? So what's the mindset like? Because we talked a little bit offline, and you come from a sales background, but you know you were helping people that were in fitness. That's a far cry from 8 figures.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing sales and fitness for the most part, you get hourly, and then you might get some commission, right? So the gyms are making hella money,
right?
And then you're just barely maintaining. You know, you might be making some good money relative. Right. But I mean, it ain't an 8-figure company.
Right.
So how have you switched your mindset from where you were before to where you are now? Was it a process you went through? Was it certain things that you developed, mentorships, or did you always have it and it just needed to be cultivated? What was your path?
It's a loaded question. It's a good question. I know that you know that, but I went through a lot of trials and tribulations. I mean, I would say that first and foremost, I never really looked at as this is a thing like I needed to become rich.
Okay.
Like that was never the mindset. Yeah. It wasn't like I'm going to afford the world and financial freedom and all of that. But time freedom is what struck me the most. Me and my wife have been together for almost 13 years.
Okay.
And we weren't supposed to be about to have kids. One of those things that we agreed on, we were both okay with. She let me know it's a hereditary thing that's passed down. And I quit that job, that sales job. I was making really good money doing it. I got promoted to being a sales director. I ran half the state of Florida. I was killing it. But I had no time at home.
Yeah.
And then I moved over to the west coast of Florida. And I went back to like the first of my labor. My dad was one of 6. He's the first one who started a successful construction job. Sarasota was a booming city. So I started a flooring company.
Yeah.
Thing that you do learn in entrepreneurship, or at least the first few books, is like you fix a problem. Nobody wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, so let me do that. There's a field for it. And I booked this building community in a place called Boca Grande.
Okay.
Called my uncle. I go, hey man, I know we've been shopping around for this. You've been helping me with these little side jobs. We've been renting this little floor grinder for like these garages and back porches. Got 36 grand set aside. I go, we made it. I booked the community. I need your help. I want you to quit your job. You gotta help me. You're gonna go on.
So booking a community for people that may not understand that, you're basically saying you got a large client.
We were putting up like, it was like 112 units, 112 houses.
Okay, so before you were getting clients here and there, because I want to give people a perspective.
Yeah.
So you running a business, you get clients here and there, but then you got like one big client and it came with that many units for you to serve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was bigger than me.
That's a big deal.
It's a lot bigger than renting a grinder from like a U-Line or Sunbelt, you know. I had trash credit, bro. Like any other young cat that was going to this, you don't really realize how valuable credit is until it comes time to use it.
Of course.
Well, I looked at my wife and I go, listen, I break down the math. I bring Danny in there. Danny is my uncle at the time. That I brought out of that at the time of bringing him out of that. I go, yo, if I buy this, it's going to cost me 24 grand to buy this in cash to take this grinder home. I got this development. I'm looking at her. I'm like, I can 4X this money in about 90 days. Pump all these out. This is on a Thursday. I go buy this $1,200 F-150 OBS Ford. It's like a 91. while I'm pulling a grinder that's 24 times the cost of the truck that I'm pulling it with the biggest smile on my face, bro. I'm going ear to ear. I made it. We pull up, bought that on a Friday, pull up the job on a Monday. Contractor got fired. We lost the job.
Wait a minute. So you got the job, then you prepared for it, got all your resources together.
Talk to my wife and spending our
Talk
money.
to wife, yeah, I mean, which is the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. Wife's on board, and then you're going to actually start moving forward with it, and the contractor loses it, and then you guys lose it.
Still got goosebumps thinking about it.
That's crazy.
It's not just my wife's money too. I just had one of my best friends, my uncle, it's family, blood to me, but more like a brother, just quit his job.
So he's going all in. He's believing in you. Wife is on board. She's like, yo, listen, you told me you could forex this money in 90 days.
Yep.
Right? And then you lose it. So it's like 4 weeks.
Right. Less than 3.
Yeah.
Mind you. Right.
So what does that feel like as a man? And then as a leader, you know what I'm saying? What do you feel at that time?
Awful. Because during the time of that happening, we're in the middle of having a kid on the way, which is ironic.
A blessing. Yeah.
Right. Just back to like the original point, because we had agreed that we were okay not having kids. 2 days after I quit that job on the other coast, we found out we had a baby on the way.
Yeah, see, God be working in mysterious ways for real.
I'm looking at her and I'm like, there's no way that just happened.
And then this just happened. Yeah, for real.
Then this happens. I'm grinding with the flooring company. I'm doing what I can to get my name out there. Just spent 2/3 of our cash. That's the house, down payments, the gas, furnishing it, whatever, getting ready to start a family. And I just blew through it, and now I don't have a way to use it. So I think any other person either would feel defeated in that scenario, or they try to find a way to sell the grinder. Thing is, he's like, it lost value. I've taken it off showroom floor. People can buy a new one for the cost they want to sell it for, or I'd have to take a hefty loss.
Yeah.
So I did what, like, literally any reasonable person would do in that situation as a gym rat. Before going home, I took 2 scoops of pre-workout, and I just drove to the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you.
I got to think.
I'm with you, bro.
I got to think.
Yeah.
And I learned a very valuable lesson that day. We hear a lot through mentorship, and you do have to pay for mentorship sometimes, like valuable mentorship. But to find the right people that you want to get mentorship from, you got to show up to places that people would normal people would not normally be, but they would normally be at those times. I.e., the gym in between the hours of 9 to 5. It was 11:30 a.m. in the middle of a Monday. I meet this gentleman. Mind you, I just told you, I just came out of doing like this fitness thing in the previous life.
What's the timeline with this? Is this like the next day?
It was the same day.
It was okay. So same day, you get rocking with the pre-workout. You go to the gym in the middle of the day. You meet this gentleman.
Irritable. I didn't want to be talked to. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to deconstruct this monumental screw up that I had. I don't know what I'm going to go home and tell my wife. Coming. And I got this guy following me around. I looked a lot different at the time. Past life, bodybuilding was going to be a thing. I worked in the gym, doing the thing. And he's asking me about exercises. His phone just keeps going ding, 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 ding. I'm like, bro, you should really get that. Someone wants to talk to you. He turns his phone around. He goes, this is what I do for a living. He's showing me Amazon. He goes, I sell on Amazon for a living. And I teach people how to do it Friday through Sunday. It's all hands-on. Costs $10,000. Mind you, I had 36 in the account.
Haven't.
Just spent 24 on a grinder.
Yeah.
Down to 12 grand.
It looked like you got enough.
I spent the 10 grand before I went home.
Did you have to convince the wife to spend the 10, or did you just spend the 10?
I spent the 10 before I
went home. Yeah. Well, look how it works, right? You got 36 in the account, spending 24, so you got 12 left over. All the things that happen to you are out of your control.
Yeah.
Right? You go to the gym, but if you really think about it, because you built up that discipline and because you built that, this is the environment that I need to be in to work through what I got going on. Right? Good, bad, or indifferent. I feel comfortable when I'm in the space. You were able to meet individuals.
Right.
The one that, and that's funny. It's like, think about this. I'm at the gym. I'm chilling. I'm bumping around. I just made 10 grand.
Yeah.
I'm picking things up and putting things down.
That's the way it goes sometimes, man. And the craziest thing, I'm sure you have stories too of situations you put yourself in where you run people like that.
Yeah.
And you don't know that you didn't go there to talk to this person, to find this person.
Not at all.
That's back to the power of networking when I told you. You can't network from a laptop in your basement.
Not at all. Even like, okay, think about this in real time, right? This is why I first got into podcasting in 2018. And back then, I didn't even know what podcast. I was just doing an interview with a camera. I was just doing an interview with a camera on YouTube. That's what it was. But because of this tool, look at the power, the magnitude of the tool, right?
Yeah.
You were willing to get in the car, drive 4.5 hours to do it 4 interviews, right? And then get back in the car and then drive back home. I did the same thing on Saturday, right? I left my house at 3:30 in the morning, went to the airport, caught a flight. It was a connecting how to go to Atlanta, then connect from Atlanta to Chicago, got into an ice bath because it was an ice tub talks podcast. So ice bath for 10 minutes,
Okay.
freezing. And then we back on the couch for the rest of the podcast.
Did you make it?
Oh, yeah. So the whole time I'm like, I ain't gonna be a bitch for this. The whole time. So it was like a main host, co-host, and then me. And then I haven't done an ice bath in probably maybe 3 years. I've done cryo. I love cryo.
Yeah.
You know, it's only 3 minutes. It gets extremely cold, but it's only 3 minutes. 10 minutes, bro. If we didn't have a conversation, there's no way.
You would have made it.
There's no way. So the whole thing I'm thinking about is just controlling my breath, you know, and slowing down my heart rate, having a conversation. But what I'm saying is, because of the power of media, because of the power of attention, because of the power of getting your story out there, it not only brings people together, right? But it allows you to build a powerful connection, build a relationship, and there's opportunities that come from that.
Right.
Every single time.
You're right.
So to bring us back to you being in the gym, that discipline allowed you to put yourself back in an environment that was comfortable, and then your blessing was right there.
Right. In a place that would have broke most people.
100%. The last thing, if you lose an opportunity, you went all in financially, you got a family or a girlfriend, a wife, whatever the case may be, or husband, and you lost that opportunity, the last place most people are gonna go is the gym.
I agree.
That's the last place.
I would agree.
They're going home and they're gonna sulk, probably put the pillow over their head, or just start eating. Most people just emotionally eat.
That's the way that it goes. But at the end of the day, like if you're going to be in entrepreneurship, you're going to put a lot on your head, on your shoulders. You got to be ready for failure. And I know a lot of people talk about that, so it's not like a cliche.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, there just should be one frame of mind. Frame of mind is, it's one failure now. So you have a bunch of people that are weighing on you. That one failure turns into 50, 100. You got to eat that. If you think it's bad right now, wait a week when everybody's like, I believe it. And you decide to walk away. You start eating. You don't show up. You don't find a fix. You don't find a solution. You got to fucking get through it and move on.
So there's something that I'm kind of picking up on, and I want you to clarify, because I could be off, I could be right on the money.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like you have a compulsive personality to go all in.
Yeah.
That contract.
Yeah.
And then as soon as this new opportunity came in, and you barely had enough money in your account, you went all in on that.
Yeah.
So what is it about like you risking it all, or you going 100% full throttle? Like, what is that? Is that something that's in you? Is that something that you learned? Or you like, I have to shake something up. I got to do something to make something happen. Like, where does that come from?
You know, I would love to give you another cliche, you're all in or you're not in. But I've unpacked that a lot. And I've prayed about it a lot. And I think it's a conditioning thing from my father. And as much as we argued about me being an entrepreneur and being a father and him thinking I was crazy and us fighting, you know, from a super young age, whether it was healthy or not healthy, I would get like an A on shit, 90, which didn't happen, you know, very often. But it was always be like, can you do better? It didn't matter if it was a 99. Can you do better?
Yep.
Right. Well, that starts to develop a habit of going all in on every single thing that you do. And then he also had a follow-up rule. It's like, you should only ever have to do anything once.
Yeah. No.
It's a waste of time if you ever have to go back to doing it twice.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's kind of just been two things that I've taken with a grain of salt, I've grown with, and things that I've taught my two sons too.
Yeah.
Like, don't half-ass anything you do. And at the same time, if it was your golden opportunity, you didn't, you know, put 100% into it, did you really take advantage of it? Or was it just another opportunity that just passed by you?
Yeah, for sure. So, I want to talk to you about family a little bit.
Yeah.
So, do you think that being married, having a family, contributed to your success? Do you think it's something that, as an entrepreneur, if someone is unmarried, do you think their path would be better or different or more stable if they were married? Like, was that an advantage for you?
It's an advantage for me. I don't know if it will be for everybody. I think it's also a clicheism that everybody tells you that you should grind and then get the wife later.
Yeah.
But I think that comes with a variety of issues. And this is just me speaking from a personal opinion. It's been a blessing growing with a woman that was able to encourage me and watch the grind.
Yeah.
I want my wife to stay at home and to raise my kids.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be like, if I ever have to go away and I got to do something for business, I know I have a woman at home that's got the same lessons I have. She watched me go through it, so she can teach my kids that. And now it's not all on me. I can trust my wife to be my wife and be the mother of my children. That's exactly who I want my kids to be around. Anyone that grows a business or they go through the trials and tribulations, they don't get to grow together, can no longer do that with the kids of the family that they start later on. She wasn't a part of the journey.
That's true. That's true. You can't really trust her the same.
Right. And it could also be a matter of, you don't know if she's around for the right reason.
100%, man.
Right.
I think I'm probably in that boat right now. I got to figure this out.
It can be tough, just act broke.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Act broke at first, see how it goes for the first month.
Yeah, for sure.
Surprise.
So you think it's easy to make money in today's landscape? You think it's easier for someone to get to it? And the reason why I ask you that is because we're in a space where, like, access to information is probably the easiest it's ever been. Access to information, access to technology. Yet we're also in a space where so many people are just hitting like the average wage in America. Like when they say entrepreneurship or let's say specifically millionaires, I think it's less than like 15% of Americans are quote unquote millionaires.
Right.
Which is a very small amount. We really think about it. So do you think we're in an age where it's easy to make money?
$1 million is not a lot of money.
It's not.
I do think it's easy, but I do think, contrary to popular belief in the entrepreneur space right now, especially the influencer space, it's going to get a lot harder. It's going to get a lot harder because AI is replacing a lot of jobs. So if you don't find a way to implement or integrate AI into whatever your current business model is, or look at sales.
Yep. Sales ain't going away.
Sales and communication.
Yeah.
It's the other guy, man.
Facts. People, the thing about this, bro, is that people are afraid of both.
It is. It's true.
You know, like yesterday I did a workshop and it was about like speak more, make more. That's basically the thing. And speaking is probably like number 2 to death, or actually, you can actually when it might be number 1 to death that people are terrified of.
Yeah.
Right. And if I'm afraid to speak, that means I'm gonna have an issue with communicating.
True.
Right, because it's public speaking, but then it's also just having a communication skill, and then you got sales. So now you got now you're giving me all the things I'm afraid of.
Right.
Right. Sales is uncomfortable. I don't want to do sales, and I'm afraid to speak. And the last thing I want to do is talk to strangers.
Right.
But that's where the money's at.
It's true. And it literally comes with all the things that, well, public speaking for number 1, I think is like the number 1 fear.
Yeah.
But the irony in you getting reps in and doing the thing that you don't want to do over and over and over again is, 1, the networking you can multiply. This is how you start buying time back.
Yeah.
Sales, highest paid job. There's no argument there.
Yeah.
You can make so much money in sales at the same time. Now imagine if you take that one thing where you're selling one-on-one and now you sell to a group and you step on stage. Imagine multiplying your time by 5,000 people that are sitting in that arena.
Yeah, that's why I love
small. We'll call it 100 people in a room. Still a lot bigger than most people ever want to stand in front of. People don't realize it until you get in front of it.
Yeah, in fact, it looks different.
It is. You start talking about viewership on social media account, people get upset. It's 100, 500 views. You get in a room of 100, 500 people.
Yo, I say that all the time.
You don't want to talk no more.
People complaining about 200 views, but you in the room with 200 people, you'll be excited. You know?
As long as it's the right target audience, it don't matter if it's 200 or 500 views. The right people got the message.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, yo, we talked about money, family. We talked about, obviously, what you do at e-com. Before we get out of here, I want to talk about your background a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what did you go through to become who you are, right? Like me, I used to go to crack houses with my mom. Like, she used to take me to crack houses. I used to see her do drugs, shoot needles up. You know what I'm saying? I used to see her go through a lot. You know? So what was some of the trials or harsh experiences that you went through to make you who you are?
I've gone through a lot, but I'll give you a heavy one. And it ultimately was the deciding factor of what I wanted to do, because there's been several times I wanted to set this business on fire. Like, and every entrepreneur goes through that. It's a normal thing.
Yeah, man.
Growth, presents a lot of challenges. And sometimes you start contemplating whether or not it's worth it. Through the trial of having my son, I had to choose between showing up to work and being there for my wife and my son. My son had some medical issues. My wife was going through some things. Again, not supposed to have kids. She was going through some things. She was out sick.
Yeah.
And I was already there for 3 days. I had to skip out. I had to come back. I was only gone for about 3 or 4 hours. I won't say the name of the hospital, but that specific hospital, their baby unit got shut down 6 months after we were there. I showed back up. They gave my son the wrong medicine. And when I came back to see my son, I went from holding my son to having to look at him through a plastic box for 14 days.
Yeah.
And nothing made me feel like more of a failure of a husband, a man, a father, than thinking that I made the wrong decision because I couldn't be there for my family. There's been several times I've had to think hard about that moment, prayed on that moment a lot, because I do think that shit happens in life. And if I can provide a second form of money or a way that people can get income inside the door, then that's reason enough for me to be able to show my kids, like, you can make a difference with whatever you do, regardless of what trials you go through. This is what Dad was called to do. So I don't want anybody to ever have to experience that.
So you feel like that was like a big decision that kind of like shaped part of like not only your mindset, but even got you more serious and turned you into the animal that you are now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The animal's kind of been there. It's just sometimes, and you'll learn this if you study a lot of like really, really big entrepreneurs. A lot of the stuff that they went in that you look at now that you're like, he's a genius. It was crazy, batshit crazy when they first brought it to light. It's like, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
They did it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no.
This is the thing. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I've crossed that bridge several times. I'm not saying that I'm that person yet. I think it's going to be a lot bigger. I want to further the partnership with Amazon, and I want to become the only management company that's doing what I'm doing. But I also want to be able to offer that to other people that are in need of it when that time comes.
Yeah, man, that sounds good, bro. So, again, we're in Brickell, Miami Live. This is real time. People walking around having a real candid conversation with my guy, Ron, right here. Where can people connect with you? So, if they want to work with one of the top management companies in the space, have the confidence that if they work with you, you're going to deliver for them.
Yeah.
Where do they need to go?
You can visit my IG page at Sales God. You can go to Great Wolf Investing on any platform, or just book a call through the website. Talk to one of our specialists. You might even be able to jump on the phone with me or a Zoom call. We want you to feel like you're a part of the family and it's the right decision before you make the decision. And if it's the right fit, then we'll get started together.
All right, so leave with one thing, right? Obviously, we touched on so many subjects.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing we didn't touch on, well, if you had to draw one last gem that people need to pay attention to or tap into, what would that one thing be?
I'm going to give you two, and the second one's biased because obviously I run the service. But the first one is, before you diversify your money into too many things, put all your money into one skill set until it's making you enough money that you don't feel like it's going to spread you too thin to invest into something else. And the second thing is, wealth is measured more in time than it is in dollar value.
For sure.
So one thing that I want you guys to take the time to do is figure out how you can start to get some of that time back. Because you can multiply cash, you can't multiply time. And a lot of that time you'll never get back. So whatever you can do to get cash flow back in, start to diversify into that, but dial down the skill set first.
Man, this has been dope, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. So listen, you guys, make sure you tap in to everything that Ron got going on. If you're looking to get into the space, if you want to just have a conversation, see if he might be a good fit to help you in the space, there'll be a link below. And as he mentioned, Amazon's tightened up a lot of different things, right? Protocol, terms and conditions. You want to make sure that you work with a credible management company if you're looking to grow and scale, your business on Amazon. Definitely want to at least have a conversation. But this has been an amazing episode of the 100% Podcast live in Brickell, Miami, right? And we'll tap into you guys. Make sure you tune in, like, subscribe, and check us out on another episode.
Appreciate you.
Peace. All right, y'all. Look, I had to interrupt the podcast episode to break down this exciting community that you need to join. Why? Because your podcast, you haven't figured out how to monetize. Maybe you're someone that used to be like me, where I didn't really have anyone that can hold me accountable, nor did I have a group that I felt comfortable about. You know what? This is my tribe. I can grow. Well, listen, we put that together.
Podcast School.
I'm teaching you guys monetization secrets, accountability, discipline, how you get better with content. And this is just a group that you want to grow with. Click the link below. Join. Let's go.